Heath Hinton, Granville Blue Aces football, joining us for week number 6 here with Storied Rival Sports Media. And I appreciate you joining us as always, Coach. It always means a lot to get a chance to sit down and talk to you. And you guys are playing some awesome football. And one guy in particular, we've talked about him, numerous times over the last couple of years, but Kyle Kirby has just been on an absolute tear through, 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
959 yards, 15 touchdowns on just 128 carries. He's got a receiving touchdown as well. And if you add up his rushing and receiving yards, he's got 1,000 all-purpose yards,
Yeah.
total yards through just half of the regular season. And he's also a beast on defense too. He had 4 touchdowns in week 1 and in week 2. Just talk about a guy like that. Not only the contributions as far as on the stat sheet, but what he means to the locker room.
You know what? When one of your better players are your hardest workers, I think that makes a great dynamic in the locker room. And I just think of that this morning too. When you're, I know Urban Meyer said it before, and a lot of other really smart coaches get paid a lot more than high school coaches. I said that before. So when your best guys are your hardest workers, that's what our captains are. And Kyle's one of our captains, been a 2-year guy, and that's what really makes a difference. He kind of sets the tone for that in practice and the weight room, and how you watch film. So he does a great job with that. But he's also pushing along those younger guys who try to aspire to be a great leader, a great captain sometime. And so we're getting that from our leadership and leadership council, and also from our 5 captains that we have. And so it's awesome. It's awesome to have him and kind of leading the way.
Yeah, and then it's also great too that you kind of get to spell him defensively with his younger brother Connor, who's a
Yeah.
sophomore. So he comes in at linebacker and fills in for him. How cool was that to have little brother, come in and you get to see both of those guys play together sometimes.
Yeah, Connor's the same. Connor comes in, he works really hard. Those guys are both playing spring tennis, and now in in summer. So in the springtime they come and lift in the morning during the spring, and then go to practice and stuff after school and go to matches and stuff, and never they never missed a beat. Those guys are both hard workers. They like the game of football. And I think they're one of our teams that team leaders too. So Connor puts a lot of time, a lot of energy, playing a little bit more offense right now because some injuries and stuff. But he's kind of our utility guy, so he's got to be a really smart football player.
Yeah, and then talk to me about the development of, new starting quarterback, Jackson McMillen. I mean, he's a junior, outstanding pitcher. He's got all the tools, right? I mean, he's 6'3" and like 200 plus pounds. And so he's got the measurables, but obviously you don't ask him to throw the ball too much because you've got a guy like Kyle who can shoulder the load offensively. But he threw a couple touchdowns to, I think it was Carter Ryan, who's a freshman receiver last week against Utica. I mean, talk to me about Jackson, also Carter too, a freshman, stepping up and just some other guys that you support Kyle.
Yeah, we so Jackson does a great job for us. He's been our rock back there. He's kind of been he's a quiet leader right now. He steps up. Sometimes with his physical play at quarterback. Sometimes he'll take off and run the ball, and I know our kids like it. So he's done a great job. He's put us in good situation to make some throws when we need it, and put us in some good play calls, play situations too. Like in the run game. So Carter Ryan had to step up because Jacob Culver went down a couple weeks ago. Jacob went down in the 3rd play of the courthouse game. So Carter's kind of special. He's a special kid, special football player, good athlete, but has a sense of calmness and competitiveness that you need out of a player. And he was able to. The stage wasn't too bright for him down at Courthouse a couple weeks ago. We had to throw him in there just to do some returns that game, and then we made the decision just to play him a little bit more on offense, and he came up well for us the last versus Utica. With 2 touchdowns, a couple passes, made a couple catches.
Do you expect to get Jacob back soon over the next couple of weeks? I know he's a big part of your team. We've talked about his leadership and things during the summer. Do you expect to get him back soon?
I know he's healing up well. I don't know if we'll get him back this year or not. But I
Hmm.
know he's healing up. So that's always our goal and our hope. But we'll see what the doctor said.
Yeah, well, hopefully he does come back because I know he's been a big part of your team for a couple of years. And um, And with that win against Utica last week, you guys won 35 nothing, and I think the fourth quarter was running clock.
Yeah.
And we've talked before about kind of the injury bug, like Granville's kind of battled that the last couple of years, and you're doing your best to manage that and put guys in positions to be healthy as you enter the stretch run of the season. How important was that, in a week 5 game to have a running clock so you can get some other kids some opportunities, so that way you can kind of preserve some health of other guys?
Yeah, it's always good to get that part of it. It's kind of really good and enjoyable when you see, there's other kids that worked really hard on Monday through Thursday to get some Friday night time. We had a couple, some of our kids made some big plays. We were able to hold them off, and a lot of their starters been in the game there late, and we put in a lot of subs at the end, and it was awesome. It's awesome to see those kids out there and celebrate. Our team was really getting into those guys, celebrating a shutout victory and those guys being on the field is just awesome. We had a couple seniors that don't play extremely much. They got to get on the field a bit more, and some juniors and some sophomores that stepped up. So it was awesome. It was awesome for those kids. It's very exciting to watch our team celebrate other people's successes.
Now you're on the road at Watkins Memorial this Friday, and Granville has won 9 games in a row against the Warriors, so a chance to go 10 for the last 10
Yeah.
against this football team. And I feel like they're a team. They sit at 1-4, but their offense I think has just been way too good, and they to me on paper, it says 1-4, but I think they're a much better than 1-4 football team. They went to overtime last week against Johnstown and almost came out with a win. And maybe outside of a couple turnovers, they probably win that football game. But Drew Samsel, their quarterback, had over 200 yards on the ground. He had a rushing score, but
Yeah.
by the way, he threw 3 touchdowns as well.
Yeah.
And then they have Graham Smith, who had almost 100 yards and 3 touchdowns himself. They've got
Yeah.
good receivers. What do you make of the film that you've seen on Watkins? Do they look like a 1-4 football team to you?
You know what? They're really good. They're big up front. Offensively, they have some good skill guys out there. They all can run. I don't think their record, is where they should be. They do a lot of good things. They think they're 1 or 2 plays away from being to being just flipping that around.
Right.
So I think they're really good, and our team is taking them that way too. And their quarterback's good, a good quarterback play. They got a great wide receiver outside. Like I said, they're off in the line. They're big. They're big. They're strong, and they can move people. And defensively, they do a lot of good things too. And they take some good stuff away. They take some stuff away from you that you can't do. So it'll be a fun, interesting game. Our kids are after the courthouse game. They're not taking anybody lightly. And we've got to go on the road again, and it's going to be a tough environment over there. It's not very far away. Kind of a local game, and it's our first game. It's first game of the LCL, and hopefully come out with a win.
How did that loss against Courthouse kind of reshape this team and I guess reset the mindset? Because sometimes, I mean, you never want to lose a game, but sometimes after a loss, you do come into practice that following Monday and you just work that extra bit harder. Like, did your team kind of need that, or I guess walk me through how that loss has kind of shaped the last couple weeks?
Well, first of all, nobody likes to lose, right? You don't like
Sure.
to lose in that fashion. You don't have to lose on the road, but it's a big learning experience for a team that you can say with kind of inexperienced at the time. We play a lot of kids that hadn't played the years before, but also now it was later on in the year, week 4. So a lot of the kids got a lot of experience from it. They tasted a non-successful football night and didn't like it. So hopefully that taste of like that, not having that fun experience of celebrating afterwards and being in a 4 quarter battle where we didn't pull it out, and we kind of got handled down there. We really did. And it was, from a coaching standpoint to a player standpoint, from leadership standpoint, we had to get better. And last week was a step in the right direction, and this week is another step in that direction to try to finish our next 5 games. Just learning from that.
Well, the Blue Aces start LCL play against Watkins Memorial here in Week 6 this Friday. And Coach, thanks for hopping in here for 10 minutes, 8 a.m. on a Monday. We're talking some football, brother. I love it, and it's great to talk to you. And looking forward to seeing you on Friday. And good luck.
Hey, thank you very much.